Hey guys, it's Commando here. I'm on my way up to the snow line. I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to survive in the snow. We'll see you up there.
I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no.
Hey guys, it's Commando here. I'm up here at the snow line. Most of the snow is melted off for as far as we can get up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate as if you were out hiking and say you slid down a hill, maybe and landed in a little snowbank, and you ended up needing to build a fire on top of snow. It is possible to build a fire on top of snow. You just need to do a few things in preparation. Now, I've got my machete here, I've got my knife, and I've got my axe. But really you can do all of this with a good sturdy fixed blade knife, and I'll show you some of that a little bit later. But I've got all my tools here to make it a little easier and a little quicker. So the first thing I'm going to do is, when you're building on a snow bed, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to get something on top of that before you can make your fire. So there's a few things around here that are going to help me make my fire, so I'm going to show you down over here. Alright guys, so what I've done is I've gone along, you can see in the background here, there's a lot of low-lying branches. Getting some of the little bit slightly bigger ones. I found a couple of big pieces of bark and some deadfall that I'm just trying to get on top of the snow. And now I'm basically just creating a bed to start my fire on top of. Once your fire actually gets going, the fire itself will burn down. The wood that it burns down, the ash will actually layer on top of the snow, and it'll actually insulate itself from the snow, so it won't melt through the snow, and you'll actually be able to burn this fire on top of the snow. Alright guys, so another thing is when we're looking for the stuff that's going to make easier work, especially if you don't have a knife and stuff like that on you, you're going to find a lot of dead branches, especially in the wintertime. They're really small. I'm going to zoom in here real close. I mean, you can get these things down to, less than toothpick size, and they're usually all real dry, real brittle. They make perfect stuff for gathering for your first portion of your fire, and then adding up to the bigger stuff. So you just go along and you pick off all these really little tiny things. This stuff will almost start with a spark. All right, I'm going to gather a bunch of this stuff up, guys, and we'll get back to you. Alright guys, so what I was talking about earlier is you can do a lot of this work with just a nice fixed blade. You don't have to carry around an axe. So you can find usually a dead heavy log laying around about hand size. This one just happened to, when I broke it off, happened to break into a nice handle. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's not real dry, so it's going to work real good. So what you want to do is you want to get your, I happen to also have a dead stump here, which I can kind of stick my piece of wood, and you'll notice that this doesn't have any bark on it. I found a branch that was on a tree, broke it off. It was nice and dry. It's nice and dry on the inside. You can see how white that is. That's going to make an exceptional starter, but it's a little too big. So what I want to do is I want to get it down to a manageable size that will actually work on this. So put your knife here, and then you just kind of act like you're hitting it with a hammer. You don't want to use a rock or anything, because you'll actually break your blade. You see that? You see how I just split that just easy as peasy? Now, so let's say you were doing flint and steel. All you had was flint and steel, and you didn't have a match. Now, this is going to be the perfect, exactly what you want. You've got nice dry inside wood here, and what you can do is, I carry a pocket knife. And it's got the little serrated edge on it. It's got just a little bit of it. Well, what you can do is go ahead and zoom in here a little bit. Is you can get yourself a whole bunch of nice dry shavings real quick with a serrated blade. You can see how all that stuff's just sloughing off. Now you'd want to do it on something that's not soaking wet. You'd want to put, I don't know, a leaf down or another flat log to catch it on. But hopefully you can see that how it's just really just shaving off the inside. You don't need a serrated blade either. This is just a smooth blade here. You know, same thing. You're just trying to get it roughed up and get a bunch of these slivers off, and then you want to get a big pile of that. I'll show you guys later from a flint and steel starting. All right, guys. So you know, if you can't, I mean, let's say that you happen to be on a completely snow-covered field, right? You found yourself some branches, you found yourself stuff, but you can't find anything to catch this on. Well, you know, you got to think a little bit outside the box here. Sometimes, you know, you might have a bandana, you might have a handkerchief, you know, you might have a hat. A hat makes a really good catch for all this stuff. You can see. No time flat. You get yourself a whole nice little pile of this real dry stuff that a spark will catch real easy. Alright guys, so what you're going to want to do after you got it split down, you're going to need to get yourself a bunch of this real small stuff. And you're going to have to keep chopping it down. You really need, especially if you're just doing it with a single match or flint and steel, you really want to get this stuff as small as you can. And a blade works real well for that. That's one way of chopping it. Another way, if you're having troubles with it, finding something to hit, you can always, you know, get it flat, put your blade on it. You know, wherever you want to split it at, and you can, you know, grip it, palm strike, and then just rotate, and that'll break this stuff open real easy. And you can just keep making it smaller and smaller that way. See, you're starting to get down to the sizes where you really need it. You know, when it gets down that small, sometimes it's a little hard. You know, you want to be careful you don't cut yourself. If you injure yourself out here in the wild, it's definitely going to be an issue, especially if you're in a real life survival situation. So safety first all the time. Stop, think clearly. One of the first things that I always tell people is if you find yourself in a survival situation is take a knee. Like, you know, physically just stop and take a knee if you can. Obviously not if you're in the water or something, but there's something about stopping and repositioning your thinking and decide, okay, what's my next best course of action? Because if you're making decisions based on fear or anxiety, you're going to make poor decisions.